Howdy everyone, and welcome to Brokelistic Games' top 10 most anticipated titles of 2018. They are all here on this little post-it note, and why I'm saying that is because I wanted to feel less like a machine when I talked about games and not go from a Wikipedia page or a publisher's page talking about their title. I wanted to talk more off the cuff and tell you guys how these games make me feel and how I'm excited for them and what I'm scared about and so forth like that. I hope to do like a video on this side or this side with the game's kind of gameplay in the background so you get a general gist of what it feels like. So sometimes when you speak about a game, it just doesn't adequately give a good presentation to visualizing it. So without further ado, let me jump into number one on the list. Coming out January 26th, we have Monster Hunter World. I played all the betas of this game, did all the quests online. This is a true iteration for Monster Hunter. Capcom has been hitting on all cylinders since last year, since the release of Resident Evil 7. They are doing a lot more collab work. They're getting out of their Capcom way for the first time, and since starting last year, they've really come into their own. I would say they're like the third best publisher last year, obviously behind Nintendo, Ubisoft, and Sony probably sits in front of them a little bit too, so maybe third, fourth. They've really done well in renovating their engines, and you can tell with how Monster Hunter runs. So what Monster Hunter is it's a online co-op boss kill kind of game. So very in the vein of Coughenour, Freedom Wars, Soul Sacrifice. You click on a mission, you join it. You can join others in mid mission, and you kind of catch the trail on the boss, beat him up, collect his gear, and build new gear from it. Now there's a capturing game inside the game. There's a cooking game inside of there too, and all that intertwined with each other. I love these games, how they're adding on. They're seeing these survival games, and they're seeing that people want to manage more things than just kill the boss. They want to have a reason why they're killing it. They want to have a reason why they're collecting things, and not just, well, you need to get 100 things to get this next place up. And that's usually the older games were. It was like, you need to kill 100 demons before you get to the next chapter. Coughenour is very much like, you need to kill this. Oh, well, you can't get to chapter 5 unless you kill 3 turtle bosses, so it's a little redundant in that sense. But Monster Hunter feels like it's moved away from that for Monster Hunter World, and I'm really looking forward to it. I saw all the coverage on it, and I played all the betas, and I got all the extra bonuses from finishing all the missions on the highest difficulty, and it's one that looks really special. It's my first digital game of the year, big purchase, just because I want to play both. Me and my wife both want to play, and it's something that I think will definitely gain traction moving forward. It's caught a lot of attention of a lot of gaming personalities, and it's a very special game. There's even the ability to be Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, which was another special game in 2017. There's even a quest line to get her gear and even her character model, I believe, in the game. So Monster Hunter World, look for it January 26th. The next one is Ni no Kuni 2, The Revenant Kingdom. This one comes out hopefully in March. It was supposed to come out in January. I had the collector's edition pre-ordered, and it got pushed back. Ni no Kuni 2 is a departure from Ni no Kuni 1 in a way, because Ni no Kuni 1 was about a boy struggling with some changes in his life. Obviously, I don't want to ruin the story. I know a lot of people have finished it by this point, but you were capturing. It was very Pokemon-esque. It was the closest Sony got to being Pokemon-esque. You were collecting creatures to fight for you, and you still fought yourself as the character, but it was more them fighting, and then when you took a turn, it was a big hit, move and so forth like that. Ni no Kuni 2 seems to be more open, and it's more of like a Pikmin kind of, like you have a bunch of these little characters that you send to fight, and they're all running everywhere and so forth like them. It's less about individual creatures and more about these whole group of little animal creatures. So I'm looking forward to that. It's very I almost think like Overlord, where you sent the minions out and so forth like that. That's a little bit back in PS3, so you might not catch that overtone. That's why I hope to have a video up here somewhere. I'm a little disappointed it got pushed back, but these guys are gifted developers. I think they're still working with Studio Ghibli. They did Spirited Away. you know, those kind of titles. Level 5 game, obviously, and it should be absolutely amazing when it comes out. I believe it comes out in March. I want to say the 23rd of March. That is a tentative date, so I don't want anybody to get their hopes up for it yet. Get your hopes up, but not the hopes up for the release, because that's how companies are. Next one does have an official release date just recently. And I am a huge fan of this series. This David Jaffe series back in the day. Now, obviously, it's a Cory Barlog series. It's called God of War. I have played every God of War on the highest difficulty, tried to get the speed run records and so forth for 1 and 2. This new God of War is almost like a mashup of Last of Us meets God of War meets Horizon Zero Dawn. You're talking a 20 to 25 hour game. God of War 2, God of War 1 were like, if you're flying through, they were like 4 to 6 hours. God of War 1, I think, even has a trophy for that. Obviously, God of War 3, you were moving up into the 12-hour, I think it took me to finish the game. And then God of War Ascension, which was still around that same amount of time, and obviously was a lower part of the series because they had that online multiplayer and so forth. But this one, the camera's set right behind you. It's a very Joel Ellie kind of experience. You have the kiddo there. I'm nervous for Kratos. I think he's a more passive character, but what I saw in the cinematography-based footage, or cinematic footage to say, is it looks like there'll be an expansion of powers throughout the game. Like he wants to show his son that there is a progression and they aren't just normal men. So I'm pretty stoked for that, because it kind of the beginning when I saw the previews in E3 and so forth, I was tentative because I really like Kratos being the madman he is, but I love the new story concept. I'm nervous about the kid, whether he'll affect the gameplay or if he'll say things constantly. But as I saw in other, you know, obviously that's Naughty Dog. This is Santa Monica, 2 different companies. If they're using any of those AI engines, that shouldn't be a problem, because I was never annoyed by Ellie, or I was never annoyed by any NPCs that are included on the Uncharted journeys. They never spoke too much. So that I want to be both sides with this. I'm definitely gonna get the Stonemasons edition. It comes out April 20th. The collector's edition has a bunch of like add-ons, but I'm a huge God of War fan. Those people that don't want to spend the extra money, go get something cheaper, you know. Even if you can get it for like the pre-order Gamers Club Unlocked for $47.99, do that. You know, don't beat yourself up. It looks a lot slower for God of War, but maybe slower is good. It let maybe Kratos build as a character instead of being a madman. And honestly, the first God of War, he needed to be a madman. 2 and 3, a little different, you know, if you know the lore with God of War and so forth. And the Vita games, I should say the PSP games, they were excellent games too, by the way. Ghost of Sparta and so forth like that. It's a great series. I'm hoping it does very, very well. I'd love to see more God of Wars. Check it out, April 20th. Now, the next one, I don't know when it's coming out. It's supposed to come out 2018. It's not Death Stranding, guys. It's not Last of Us 2. So those games are not coming out this year. So throw those away till 19 or 20. The next game is Days Gone. It's Studio Bend. Studio Bend's last big game was Uncharted Golden Abyss, which I played the whole way through. Had some of the best dialogue between Sully and Nathan Drake when they're going down this one river in a canoe. Absolutely hysterical, and I thought it was some of the best writing for them throughout the whole series of Uncharted. Not the whole game, that, no, keep that in mind. But this was their last big game, so they've had a wealth of time on this one. I think they're approaching, like, I want to say 6 year mark, and usually game development's 3 years, so they're on 5 year mark. This is like super horde zombies mixed with Last of Us, mixed with Horizon Zero Dawn, mixed with Uncharted. I felt like the character had a lot more fluidity of getting around, and things were kind of at your own pace. So if you want to set the zombies in on people to attack, or if you want to, you know, use them as coverage to get around, it looks like it should give us a good 20+ hour experience. Studio Bend, is a terrific developer. I've played the Siphon Filters back in the day. They were splendid, splendid games. And I know they weren't, like some people will say, well, they weren't Metal Gear. And it's like, they weren't, they were trying to be their own kind of espionage game. This company has a lot of talent. And I mean, like they talked about like the forest, you know, kind of like their own backyard where they're at. You know, when you can pull from that material and use the real world experience, this could be a really, really special game. And it's something that I'm looking forward to. It got mixed reviews when it was, you know, shown at E3, and it didn't have a release date, and people were like, what's going on with it? It looks good. It looks like if you took Last of Us and you let it be a little bit way more open, because it seems like it's going to be open world in a way, and hopefully it can still capture those moments. Obviously, the bar is set really high with Last of Us. Anybody who plays Last of Us first before any other single player action adventure is really doing themselves a disservice, because every other game's not going to meet that plateau. So, and that's what kind of Days Gone's fallen into. It has to release this year. If it cannot wait to release the next year. Last of Us 2 will be out probably at that point, and it needs to release now. And if hopefully it's good, because I like Studio Bend to keep going. I don't want to see them close down, like, you know, London Studios or even Evolution Studios, which people may disagree on this one, may agree on this one. Drive Club is a good game. It's one of the best racers on the system, and that studio should still be around. That was just a really big error on the publishing side, the PR side, and I hope that Ben doesn't get the same thing. Same for like Aquatic Dream right now. They're going through a whole thing. Notable, Aquatic Dream's game is not on this list. Detroit is not on here, and I will definitely say before I get to number 5, the reason why I like David Cage games, I really do. Omicron: The Nomad Soul is one of my favorite games of all time. Beyond Two Souls, I like the PS4 version better because you can play it in a different order and it makes a lot more sense. Heavy Rain is a good game, a lot of people's favorite game, but it's just this whole walking simulator, picking and choosing things. I'm not maybe a feel for that. And if you play Omicron, it has that dialogue too, but it has there's a lot more action adventure in there, and a lot of these newer ones are just Beyond Two Souls, though, did have a little verticality to it, but they're mostly just do this situation and you're going to get a selection of things. I've played so many Telltale games. I've played so many Walking Deads. I like Gone Home, don't get me wrong, but all these walking simulators, and I'm done. So it didn't make the list solely because I don't want to constantly think about bad things all the time. Zombies are fictitious, and that's fine. And Nordic gods are fictitious. I like to stay in that fantastical realm. So those people that are like, why is Detroit not on here? There's your reason. That being said, number 5 is a game's coming out pretty soon. February 6th or 5th, I believe. Shadow of the Colossus remaster. Oh my gosh, I'm waiting for this. Okay, listen. ICO, I own every version of it. Shadow of the Colossus, I own the remastered on the PS3. And obviously, you can see Trico probably sitting around here somewhere. Last Guardian. This is a great series. And Blue Point does remasters better than anybody else. They did the Metal Gear Solid HD remasters. Peace Walker and remaster is awesome. I've maxed out my score. They did the remasters of the Uncharted series, which are absolutely awesome to look at, and amazingly they increased so much of the visuals from where they were before. Shadow of the Colossus looks so ridiculous in its remaster from its original version. I am super stoked to play it. Those who don't know, it's an aging boy, getting all these different. This problem with talking about Shadow of the Colossus is you give a lot of it away when you start talking about it. So the concept is tackling these 12 colossi. I'm not going to get more details on that because the game, I want you to experience it just solely because it is an experience. ICO's water alone, I probably spent 20 to 30 hours just swimming in a little pond outside of a bridge at the beginning of the game. These are special games. I think Sony had to woo this director back for Last Guardian to finish that job. And now that he wooed him back, they're trying to get him to do more things. So hopefully Bluepoint maybe can work with him to make the sequel to the series as we go on. Shadow Colossus is a hard one to try to push for, but there's been a lot of coverage on it, and I definitely have a video up here, and I don't want to spill too many beans on it, but it's the remaster alone is worth playing this game, and hopefully the controls are a little bit better from the PS3 version. Next one is another March release. It was originally February 26th. It is Far Cry 5. Far Cry Primal, Far Cry 4, terrific games, even though Primal has the same map and, you know, in a way, obviously, a different time period. But Far Cry 4, I loved playing co-op with my friends. What sold me on Far Cry 5, and I hope this is very much true, co-op through the main missions. Far Cry 4, you were pretty much doing the main missions, but you could do the side events with your friends. So the main missions you were by yourself, side events were with your friends. Far Cry 5, they're saying co-op through the main missions. I'm in. Get to play this game with my brother, throw in tons and tons of hours in this game. The cult kind of story, I don't care, you know, like, we have so much. You can literally hit up Twitter and get a story for any one of these games nowadays. You know, so these fanatical stories, I'm kind of like snow-blinded by. It's kind of past me. Like, oh, do they affect my psyche? No, they're just games. I just want some experience to play with people, and you'll see a lot on this list. There is some co-op games, and Far Cry 5 just has a great. It has a great crafting menu. It has a great shooting style. It's meant to be fun, and it is fun. The trophies are based around doing things that are just silly, like hang gliding, killing a guy from a hang glider. Give me a break. Like, I'm gonna skydive, knock this guy out of the sky. It's so cool. And it's, you know, a great experience for 1 to 2 players. Obviously, if they want to add on, the next Far Cry will probably be Far Cry World. You know, they tried to do that with Far Cry 2. Didn't work out too well. The online multiplayer was really, really bad back then until now. Or I shouldn't say bad. I should just say it wasn't crafted as well as the experience now. Thankfully, games like, you know, GTA 5 and Destiny have, and I say it lightly about Destiny, but have crafted that world building a little bit better, that you can do more online and still make it work for other players. That is Far Cry 5. Not going to dig too much in. There'll probably be a video on the other sides showing the experience. It's hopefully coming out March. Maybe they pushed it back, you know, with the turbulent times we're in, to get past any political statement. There's a lot of political statements right now, so it's a pretty hot button kind of game for the issues it's bringing up. Next one, our first Xbox one, by the way. Most of these have been third parties or Sony exclusives. Our first Xbox here, State of Decay 2. And people would say, well, you're not really an Xbox guy. And I would say, yeah, I really am. I'm really not an Xbox guy. I have the Gears of War 4 Xbox. Beautiful Xbox, by the way. It's probably my favorite looking system. But not a really Xbox fan because they don't make exclusives. And their exclusives they feel very directed. They don't feel very free. Like the developer didn't do what they wanted. They kind of had to fill in the kind of space that Microsoft said. So, and I get that from a Microsoft standpoint, but it doesn't really make a great game. You know, Gears of War was good, but it was very linear, and it wasn't. It just felt like Gears of War didn't feel like a true upgrade and iteration. That being said, State of Decay, I really enjoyed when I played on the Xbox. I like the Gathering. I like the surviving. This one with co-op, the way that they do co-op, it almost feels like it's a mix between Left 4 Dead, like a middle mix of like the newer Dead Risings, like how the camera looks. Dead Rising 3, Dead Rising 4, not Dead Rising 1 or 2, guys. How that camera's back and the graphical engine, it looks like it might be able to do a good service for zombie survival games that hasn't been done a lot. Obviously, you still have, I've been referencing it a lot, Last of Us. There's so many zombie games that flood the market, and a day is gone, Last of Us. But this game's more about, you know, it looks like it's going to be team-based co-op. I'm really enjoying co-op experiences, and I find that the single-player games, give me an 8 4 to 8 hour experience, because I'm playing single player for just, unless it's an RPG, but like an action adventure, 4 to 8 hours. Because if you want to be able to tell people about, like, oh man, I took down this boss, why you're doing it, like we did it together. So I'm really looking forward. I saw some of the great cutscenes where they're working on fighting a big giant, glutton kind of boss, and it looks like they're having fun for once with Microsoft's titles. So hopefully this will be another big year for Microsoft. They need it. Sea of Thieves is also coming out this year. It didn't make the list, but I love their controller. Sign me up for that controller with the gold sprinkles on it, and the glow in the dark skull and stuff. Go check that out, guys. That's one of the coolest controllers I've ever seen for a system. But State of Decay 2 is definitely, it's number 7, but these aren't really listed in any order. And obviously I'll put some kind of thing up at the top to talk about where these are at. The next one is Red Dead Redemption 2. This one you kind of had to expect to be on there. I put a wealth of time into Red Dead Redemption. Maxed all the online stuff, got to level 50, had the wanted status, got out of town without getting killed with a maxed bounty on my head, all that fun stuff playing online. If they can bring GTA's 5 experience to Red Dead, I mean, there's no Western games really out there. There's one on the PC that's supposed to be coming out either now or in early access already, but no one does it like Rockstar. So Red Dead should be expertly crafted, and if it's a prequel, I want to see where the gap is bridged, and if this is when he was early in the gang and so forth like that. That being said, Red Dead Redemption, the first one, had some pretty crazy bugs in it, in the story. I have many times lose whole gangs, fell through the floor. I've seen GTA 5 enough to know that they've cleaned most of that stuff out. So hopefully this one is, and they have the budget to craft a game that is not like your typical Bethesda game, glitchy as heck, but still a great game. I hope it's a great game and not glitchy. So that's what I'm hoping for Red Dead Redemption. It's supposed to, I think, be coming out. I think everybody's watching this one, so I bet this hits. I want to say this hits in March, but with God of War hitting in April and a ton of games hitting in March, I bet they hold this thing to September. They really like September. September was when they released GTA 5. They pushed it back, and it was such a huge launch. I stood in lines for GTA 5 in 2013, and it was a terrific experience, and I had a lot of fun with people. If Red Dead Redemption gains traction like GTA 5, Rockstar won't even need to make games anymore. GTA 5 is enough to put most of those guys into early retirement. They just have too much money, So Red Dead Redemption, look forward to powwow with friends, look forward to online questing, hopefully taking down gangs, so forth. If you've seen the latest GTA 5 heists, they're so expansive now. This is definitely a game that should fall in that vein, and hopefully is the experience we hope to get out of Red Dead moving into this online games of service structure, which scares the heck out of me. Give me a final patch when you close the servers down, guys, and we'll be cool. Let me play my game offline after you close the servers. So Destiny 2, that goes for you. Destiny, that goes for you. Just play the offline mode. Don't throw all the raids, throw them out. Just give me the quest, give me this run around the world. I'm fine with it, That being said, that was number 8. Number 9 is probably one of my most excited single player only games of the year. It's Metro Exodus. I've read all these books. This is a great series, and if they can actually capture Metro 2035, which is what this book is based off of, if you get a chance, go read these books. They're terrific. They're very dark. They're very gloomy. They're very very sad, but there's a story of survival in these. Exodus, when I saw it at E3, it had a great trailer. They're going above ground. Obviously, I know the whole story, so I won't ruin it for you guys. That's the point of this. If they go to an open world kind of like structure with the train, I mean, that's way later in 2035 in the book. And the way they do it is not to the detail of this one. So I'm nervous about it, like how far they go off the rails and following the book, because the other two followed it very, very, very well for some parts, and then they pulled parts that were on the back of the part of the novel to the front of it. So there's a couple things that could be better, but this developer is probably one of my favorite double A developers. 4A was based in Ukraine. They moved far a different place in Ukraine, obviously with Russia taking over that part. Don't want to get too political, but the fact that they've lived through that turmoil and are still making games is a true accomplishment for this developer. I love this developer. I've made a whole Terraria stage over their games, so I'm a little biased. But this game looks splendid. It should use the full potential of the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X and the PC when it comes out. These guys know how to make the back end graphically and make it work where it looks absolutely jaw-droppingly good, and it plays very good. I love survival. I like Russia, old world survival, not flying around spaceships and all this other fun stuff. The fantasy space, the Star Trek. I'm not against Star Trek. I'm just saying that I like things that we survive through, for survival games, in kind of a layman's kind of real world kind of man perspective. Metro Exodus. Look for it. The trailer for this game, they showed a clip on a Twitter feed, and it looked like it said August 8th. Look for it August 8th. They like to do that kind of sneaky stuff in their videos, and they did drop the previous Last Light in August. I think it was August 20th. So another August game. All these games are kind of falling on different months. We look to do reviews on every one of these games. The last one on the list. This one's going to catch people off guard because I was talking about fighter games recently, and Soul Calibur 6. Now, I like Tekken. I like Street Fighter. I like Mortal Kombat. I like Injustice. Injustice 2 was probably one of the best fighters of the year last year. Soul Calibur has a special spot for me because I'm a huge Dreamcast fan. And Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast, I spent so many nights bringing friends over, having tournaments, having LAN parties. LAN in a sense because they had that modem and it was as a whole thing. Let's not go on that because it's just painful. It's like somebody hooking up a 56K baud modem. Don't want to do that anymore, guys. We're in broadband. Anyway, future wise, it looks fluid. It looks fast. Even if it just brings back that nostalgia from the Dreamcast era of Soul Caliburs, I'll be cool with it. Soul Calibur 5, you just set your regions to a weird region, and you could verse your friends. That's a little trick for those people who didn't know that. And you could play your friends, and it had a cool experience. I'm hoping this one's a little bit more like Tekken 7, which was a beautifully crafted game, how you verse people. Their online multiplayer didn't work at first, but once it got it working, you could play with your friends. You could play tag matches to see who was the best after 10 games and so forth like that. It had a lot of cool benefits. So I look for this one to be a new experience, especially with the creator of Tekken 7 kind of like passing the mantle to the guy at the Sony conference. I think it was Sony conference, or it was the game show. And he was like, this is the guy. You should know this guy. So they must be really proud of what they're doing over there with Soul Calibur 6. And hopefully has that crafting menu like Tekken 7 and Soul Calibur 5 did. A lot of people were against that, but I'm all for adding more to a fighting game. Because it's like, at the end of the day, it's almost like playing Madden versus your friend. Okay, after you beat me so many times, man, I need something else. Like, let me power up my team, or let me draft a new player. Ultimate Team, guys, that's why they make so much money, because you can pick new players. So if you verse your friend again, you get Larry Fitz on your team and you win. Do something like that with Soul Calibur. Let me get a new sword or something. Like, well, you have to put more time in. Make it work. This has been fun. I like this new style, the post-it note style, guys. You can see it's right there. And I put some question marks from some other ones. Notable mentions: Anthem, Kingdom Hearts 3, Dragon Ball Z Fighters. These are all ones that are on here, and obviously I put some other ones. I don't even know what they are. Probably Sea of Thieves. It's another one that I thought about put on the list, and honestly, I don't know if they're all going to make it. Out this year. I'm hoping they do, but a lot of them say that they're close and then they push back. Same thing with the Crackdown 3 and stuff like that. I'm not really excited about that game. Look forward to our top 10 games we missed. And that's from the year before. There were so many titles. Last year was a ridiculous amount of titles, and we missed a lot. So that being said, look forward to that one. Hope you like this one. And if you like what you see here, please like, subscribe, follow, share, sign up. You know, we always could use more people trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. That's our main goal. We here at Broke Left Stick Games appreciate you stopping by, and we will see you soon. Thanks.